Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the written favorite storytelling activity right here. It's basically talking about, say, with the written favorite, and which I'm sure that most of us have what you call is like maybe a favorite part. You say a moment, of course, in life, as knowing about for what you can remember, and then knowing about for how how something worked, and then of course how you did it is. But basically, talk about this story right here is basically showing right here, as they say, is like cardinal bird, and of course I have a few other souvenirs that more likely I'll show you later on. But you see right here is that I went ahead and drew right here is a picture right here of a cardinal, and basically that reminds me of a story from back those couple of years ago. The year would have been about 1993, I think 1994, whenever there was an assembly going on in a gymnasium. It was, anybody maybe remember about the story of those times. It was. But basically that you see that right here's a drawing, let's say, of a red bird, but that the story goes is by that there will be like what you call like somebody's like dressed up. There would be like, say, a dressed up red bird. It is inside the gymnasium, and I can remember that the red bird would come out, and then we'd talk about baseball, and then of course talk about the types of things. And my memories can probably go on, of course, about the different things that they talked about. But on your hand too, that knowing about that that it's like that the bird would come out, and then be playing around in the gymnasium. That there would be somebody in that gymnasium that would say, red bird, quit, give that lady's purse back or something like that. And then I can remember that the bird, red bird, would even pick up one of the students, of course, inside of the gymnasium, and begin dancing with them. And I just thinking about that we would be watching they would show videos about that if anybody has ever heard of that song. It was like, you can't touch this, but I don't really know the name of the artist. But on the other hand too, that you got right here is for a red bird, and that there would be a bird that would come out of, say, the gymnasium, and then would talk about it, like that they would be what you call dancing around, and then of course showing off their, say, the talents of knowing about what red bird can do. And of course that was in the gymnasium. It was and I can remember a lot of those things, of course, too, back then, and just knowing about that with Redbird, anything that more likely that you cannot remember, of course, that we maybe think about that if there's anything related to any sports or any comic book catalogs, or where you were whenever you bought the catalog, or if it's anything related to maybe a certain song, or anything like that. That more likely that talk about which days maybe your favorite moment it is. That's how you reconnected with a friend of yours or something like that, with a friend or somebody, and knowing about that lava. I could probably tell anybody here that there may be some things that more likely I may think that I don't remember this or I don't remember that. But on the other hand too, that it's possible that I could tell anybody here that more likely that if you just let the brain work, that let your mind work to where that if you'll be able to remember things at that certain point of time. It is such as that what was the name of your first car, the first car you drove, or the first maybe the first kiss, and on your hand to the first school that you went to, where you what you like to do in kindergarten, whichever it was. And I could probably tell anybody here that the things that I liked doing in kindergarten were not just coloring. Of course, if I can remember, I liked putting together blocks, and then of course I think a few puzzles. I would put puzzles together. It was that type of stuff in kindergarten. And anybody probably think about hang out with your friends on the playground, and go out to the playground for recess time, and then hang out with the kids. And of course with the kids, a lot of times that they will be in like what you call in their separate classrooms. It is, and then they will be together for like what you call like the specials and activities, and of course with the reading activities, and say any stuff, any events going on in the library, especially the libraries over there at the schools. A lot of times it's like talking about, it's like beside with the Redbirds it is, and like with the St. Louis Cardinals, or if it's like what you call like the St. Louis Rams or anything like that. But anyway, that you see right here is you got right here is a Redbird, and so far as talking about this, like this, written the written favorite is talking about is that the written favorite story is knowing about that the things that you may try to remember, and then that knowing about that I don't remember this, or I don't remember that time it is, or I may remember just a little bit. But on the other hand too, that anybody maybe suggest that Mike, you remember ain't that blank, you just gotta, anybody probably think maybe just not enough clues, maybe just not enough evidence, whatever it is, of knowing about that anything that you can more likely see, of knowing about that the things that you can see that more likely that you remember, such as anybody probably think about, yeah, that's usually what you hear and see in movies, of course, but so far in real life, such as if it's anything maybe such as a Cardinals game, or if it's anything related to any type of art, artistic talent it is. It's like you have right here is for Redbird, and a lot of kids at the school used to tell me, of course, it's like that, that with artistic talent it is knowing about that I basically learned, just by looking at the photo, and of course, just doing other artistic creations, of course, to the picture it is. And with anybody that they could probably think about that's pretty precious, of knowing about that, even though if several years later they find out maybe if the ink or paint starts to peel off, whichever it is, it's like talking about, it's like anything that more likely that you do by hand it is. Like talking about more likely that it's anything that's done by you, that more likely if you want to keep it, or if you just give it away, whichever it is. But on the other hand too, that knowing about maybe my dream back then, of course, was knowing about being part, of course, of some type of event, knowing about that if they needed somebody, of course, to make like any type of cards, or any type of Cardinals cards, any type of flash cards, or if it's any type of a graphics art or anything like that, maybe related to the computer it is. And more likely I can go ahead and maybe add a little bit of detail right here. It's like maybe put like what you call like a little background right here. But like with the Cardinals it's like have it to where go ahead and draw like what you call maybe draw like a cloud, of course, in the background, of knowing about if the knowing about whenever the ball comes through, and then anybody probably think about how do you draw a cloud, of course, from that certain distance it is. And I tell anybody that more likely if you just work, of course, with the art utensil it is, with a marker or crayon, and just like what you call do these swivel type artistic effects for the cloud it is. Do these swivel effects you got right here is like these wave type effects, of course, on the cloud. And like with anybody who maybe think about how do you draw all that detail, of course, just to compared to an actual photo from something that you take a picture of. A lot of times they say that, well, it's you can't really you can notice the difference real quick if it's between a coloring and, of course, in a photo, if it's like what you call have anything that maybe do with abstract. But on the other hand, that I could probably tell anybody here that knowing about that the type of technology, of course, it's in like what you call like the camera it is knowing about the type of technology to where it can take that simple snapshot, and then from there and then make that type of scene it is. And knowing about with anybody maybe think about that, the types of memories, of course, is the things that you can remember from based on on your experience it is, knowing about where you were during that time, and what you were doing during that time it was. And with anybody will maybe think about that, well, I don't remember. I don't remember what I was doing. I don't remember what it's like. Come on. I'm like, is your mind that blank? Your mind can't be blank that quick. It's like it's like a cloud to where it's like everything is all kind of what you call is like in the dark until all of a sudden it's like that you may start remembering some things about knowing about that yep, the type of artwork of course that you did. It's like in school it is anything like that, like knowing about that yep. And I can maybe go ahead and draw an example right here of like say of a baseball. Anybody maybe think about it's that the things from what you can remember. It is like I often start remembering things that maybe I don't want to be reminded of either. What are some examples? More likely, as I mentioned before, it's like the things that more likely that talk about maybe being at the dinner table and of course that maybe things that I may have told the teacher too. Some things I may have said to the teacher that knowing about like what'd you say? Like nothing. But anyway, guy right here is the baseball. I think during that time I think it was talking about that we were teasing each other and all of a sudden it's like I took the words apparently that I said something to the teacher that I was like, oh, never mind. So like, what is never mind supposed to mean? I'm like, well, it means it's like don't worry about what I told you. It's like just think about it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my work. Yeah, exactly. Is that what you're saying? You're saying to be quiet, shush and do your work. But anyway, be quiet and do your work. But anyway, you have it to where that you got right here is a baseball right here, but I would probably say anybody that more likely you'll probably start remembering things that more likely that you may not remember. It's like anybody probably think about. Usually it's music, either it's music or if it's like what you call it's like going to that restaurant and having that certain smoothie or something like that, or if it's what you call maybe going clothing shopping, maybe walk in the park, whichever it is, to help you remember stuff. And with anybody that about almost anything that's really going to bring back memories. It's like jumping going on a swing, or if it's anything related to what you call maybe working with some tools, or if it's like we say working working with Play-Doh. If anybody has experience working with any type of finger paint or Play-Doh, that more likely that it may start bringing back memories also, and at the type of memories of knowing about the things that we want to remember, and from maybe what we don't want to be reminded of also. Knowing about like whenever I was 4, that I said I want to be a magician. But other than that, like talking about with anybody, I could tell anybody here that at one time that I was into magic. I would buy magic kits, and it's like talking about with magic right here. It's like I'll go ahead and show you right here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you these numbers right here disappear. It's like for 888 and 555. And click like and ta-da! But anybody like, no, that's not real magic. But other than that, like anybody maybe think about it's like with magic it is, and the type of magic of course maybe like to watch. But anyway, at one time I think I did. At one time I wanted to run a magic show. I didn't really have a lot of it. I did not really even have any type of magic kits or whatever, but on the other hand too, that knowing about that anybody can maybe ask. It's like a lot of my talents of course are what you call like in my hands. It's like talking about the basic things for what I can do with my hands. It is knowing about that the artistic skills of course of knowing about how to draw Redbird, and then on the other hand that like it maybe in the wrist too, is like it's all done of course with using my hands. It is, and the types of things of course that we can do of knowing about. It's like it'll be hard to draw Redbird due to the fact because that tell anybody here. It's like talking about, say, with the baseball glove. If you have like here is a baseball glove. You got the glove right here. It's like if you got the baseball glove, and then knowing about the types of things. Of course, know about about the baseball glove right here. Baseball glove, and of course the baseball hat. I think about what size, of course, this would work with. But anyway, that you have right here is a baseball cap, and go ahead and draw, I say, the roundness, of course, on there. But from there, and then after that, I go ahead and add a little bit of blue right here, detail. Other than that you have right there is the cap, and then of course we'll say with the baseball glove, and it's like so you add just a little, usually I like the brown type color it is. But anyway, I would say with the Cardinals, like so far is that the written favorite story of talking about, of knowing about memories. Is not, your memory's not that blank. It's just all about taking time of knowing about, it's like, how to remember stuff. And anybody maybe think about that, start remembering things that more likely you didn't know that you had in your head, it is, and that you had in your mind. And anybody maybe thinking about that, maybe if it's that, that comfortable blanket, of course, that more likely is going to be bringing back memories. Maybe that if you were to have a cup of iced tea, or if it's like sweet tea or anything like that, that more likely that may bring back some memories as well. But one thing, of course, that brings back quite a bit of memories, of course, was the Cardinal. And I don't know about anybody else, is like knowing about with the Cardinal, that the Cardinal pretty much presents, as I talk about, it's like the spirit, I could say spirit of St. Louis it is. But with the Cardinal, though, that the Cardinal pretty much brings back memories, because of course I was at the stadium, of course, those couple years ago, and just knowing about, I think at one time it may have been my dream, of course. It's like I used to like to draw birds, it was, and my dream at one time, of course, to try to make the bird as realistic as possible, and to go ahead and maybe add, like, say, a variety of colors, of course, say with the purple, and of course with the red coloring at about right here it is. And anybody maybe thinking about it, go ahead and maybe add a little bit of blue detail as well, on the bird. It's like, maybe to the outside. Go ahead, like, from the legs, it's like you got right here is the legs. But anybody maybe think about, I'm like, that with the red birds, if you're going to have a t-shirt, buy a t-shirt, or if it's like maybe a pair of sunglasses or anything like that, for the game, it is knowing about if you're going to be going to a Cardinals game, that the things that more likely you would like to buy, during the time you're at the game, it is. But on the other hand, that so far with memories goes, that shirt or that stocking cap may wind up growing out of you eventually, but then knowing about the type of artwork, the artwork that we can do with our creativity, more likely, which will last longer, huh? But other than that, like knowing about that. I would say with anybody that that's like, that talk about between the baseball and of course with if it's anything, any other type of souvenirs it is, that thing about is like, yep, anything more likely creative it is so far as like for the handwritten favorite story I talk about between the assembly, and then knowing about, it's like, baseball bats, it's like what are they made out of it is. But other than that, I can remember a lot of times in the movies, of course, it's like talking about right here, it's like you have like what you call, it's like maybe for an autograph it is, of knowing about that anybody probably ask, it's like, are you really the Mark McGuire or anything like, and a lot of people, kids in the school even ask me that question, any relations to a Mark McGuire, like, nope. But other than that, you have right here is like the story, say, for the Cardinals, and right here is for the written favorite story, coloring activity.